Hey y'all, Donnie Keith here, aka Auntie Peaches from the Aunties Radio Show, also on The Voice of Reason. I'm here to say that ever since my man started taking A game, he's been on top of his A game.
What?
When I say A game, I mean his A game. He's more focused. He's definitely working out more. His attitude is better. And he's not complaining of all over body aches due to poor blood circulation, because A-Game provides great blood circulation, if you know what I mean, ladies. That blood circulation. Sometimes I have to hide the A-Game in the bushes when I'm out walking the dog just because I want some sleep, if you know what I mean, ladies. Stay on top of your A-Game, fellas. Get your A-Game.
What's good, my fellow veterans? Salute to you guys. Hope you guys are safe, sleep, taking care of yourselves out here in the civilian theater or in the military theater. Making sure you guys are good. All the subscribers, both new and old, hit the notification bell for future videos, and shout out to A-Game Nation. So you see the title of this video is called Reflections. Now, this video was inspired not just by LAR movement, but my brother Sheep Stay Sleep, The Wacky World of O, and a myriad of others, and basic general observation of things over this past year and abroad. And when I speak on reflections, I want to be honest and saying there are a lot of brothers in and beyond this space who have honestly grown complacent. So what does it mean to be complacent? It means to be marked by self-satisfaction, especially when accompanied by unawareness of actual dangers and deficiencies. Showing smug or uncritical satisfaction with oneself or one's achievements. Now that explains quite a bit of what we're seeing out here. A lot of fraudulent men, males, posing as men. Not only does the emperor not have any clothes, he doesn't have any fucking sense. All too often, we become complacent with incel income. And what I mean by incel income is you have tricks, Johns, goofies, all alike, who want to sit online and offline pontificating about punani politics, about the Pookie and Ray Ray wars. All nonsensical, pyrrhic, victory-driven shit that has made us financially flaccid, as well as sometimes sexually flaccid, socially flaccid, spiritually flaccid. Many times over, you have individuals who make a pretty penny promoting fear and fail porn. But it's not just those conflict creators. There's a lot of guys who have become complacent with their thirst and their need for confirmation bias. This is where you get the niche market of shame, blame, and explain, which I'll be happy as hell once that train is derailed off the track and blew the fuck up. Shame, blame, and explain is a niche market where accountability dodgeball is monetized in exchange for organic problem solving and forward progress. So when I talk about the 4 P's, provision, problem solving, protection, and procreation, before you even address dealing with women in general, you have to learn how to execute these things and master these things for yourself, which leads to this video in general. Your masculine light is a gift. And you have the abilities. And I've seen guys across this space from different walks of life, from Martin Luther King Street to Wall Street. A lot of times there's a lot of wasted creativity and genius in these panels, being panel possums, chat room prostitutes, and what like, and all the like. Wasted ideas. Many conversations we should be having, they're not providing the sound information for our brothers, which has made us complacent. Which you see a lot of army of pussies out here, especially, for example, where you say fart and flaccid. Then you're talking about the problem solving. Many times over, it boggles my mind how individuals want to promote ashy dick analytics. And I did a video on that, and I may leave that in the chat. In the description box. How is it that you can cite and quote all these statistics? But because of your hubris and your shared ignorance, you ignore the necessity and the information given us as statistics to become statistics, to spite yourselves, due to the lack of social discourse, conflict resolution, de-escalation of force, dignity and discipline. This is why I've always cited since 2008. Never allow your comfort zone become your coffin. It always takes a pussy to expose and control one. And we're not just talking about the female genitalia. A lot of times it goes into the pussies that you allow to bump against on the space and offline. See, with anybody, we become complacent because we don't invest the time into ourselves. We don't put in the toll to better ourselves. We always talk about being your better self. A lot of times we don't assess the trouble of things that we commit ourselves to, nor the threats. And when you fail to do that, you become a threat, not just in and of yourself, but to those around you and abroad. See, there's 5 things I want to share with you guys while I have this time. And when it comes to number 5, the mirror isn't the only tool used to see our true selves. Now, many times over, you got guys who, rightfully so, speak on what certain women did or what certain people do, but it isn't just a mirror that casts a reflective view of who we are and what we're not. Talk about the people you hang around, the people you lay with, the many things you do and cling to. All those things reflect the many great things and the foul things that manifest within us and abroad. When I go about my daily travels in the world, I know personally I deal with a lot of shit being a medically impaired veteran. People are going to have their respective views and opinions and whatnot. But we have to understand, we put value in said opinions and whatnot, not just in how we receive it, but how we carry ourselves on a daily basis. Just because you don't say anything doesn't mean it doesn't have an impact. Because too many guys who were deemed as winners, unfortunately, self-deleted themselves because they lost value in what they had. Some had families. Some had great jobs. Some were in great positions to do many things, but because of their addiction to fear and fail porn, they lost sight of the mission and themselves. So this is why I say the mirror isn't the only tool that is used to see our true selves. A lot of times when you look in the mirror, some of us unfortunately see a stranger. You got too many dudes out here trying to kiss ass, toss the salad of internet idols, and try to fit in to places that they usually don't. without properly evaluating the value of ourselves or adding to it. This is why with the mirror, when certain people say certain things or do certain things around us, that is our reflection talking back to us. What are you going to do about these certain people, these certain incidents and things? These are not coincidences. These are things you have yet to address. And while you got too many people who are losing their lives and their vitality pursuing Pyrrhic victories while talking about the Pookie and Ray Ray wars and the Punani politics, we are still bleeding out our most finite resource, which is time. We start losing things as far as our dignity, our respect, credibility, many things that men should value, but some of these males don't. Then in number 4, there are no winners in the sport of accountability dodgeball. Now, with many of the things that have happened in my life and personally, certain people who came into my life and showed their fucking ass, certain people who nearly had me at death's door a few times, I could always sit there and point the finger at them. I could. But see, as a veteran, and I'm speaking to my veterans especially, when you leave the military theater and come into civilian theater, you have to be, it is paramount that you become the CEO of your life, the commanding officer. You can't wait for reveille to sound off or people to beat on walls and shit like to get your ass up. You can't rely on the UCMJ to protect you when you're out here fully, especially when your end of active service is up. You have to take command of your post. This, and everything around it, that is your motherfucking post. Not only do you have to walk it, you have to talk it, you have to promote it and protect it, which is why I put the 4 P's up there before. You got to provide your masculine light in the right way to shine within yourself for yourself to promote that natural masculine growth. Problem solving will be a tool. As a veteran, people are going to test you. So you got some people who don't like the fact that you have certain things set for you because you did your time. Whether it's 4 years, 2 years, even a whole career. You got men with service dogs who are dealing with being mentally impaired or medically impaired. And you see many stories every day with them getting fucked with. And many veterans, all they ask for is to be left the fuck alone. Let me do my thing and keep it pushing. But there's always going to be some motherfucker pushing a button. There's always going to be some people who they know your record. Some will ask you stupid ass questions. Some will even get out here and really try to test you. See if that switch is real. And you got to keep in mind, for your sanity and their safety, you got to do whatever you can, respectively, to use de-escalation of force. But sometimes, when you flip that switch, you got to dig into that bitch. And I'm going to leave it at that. When it comes to accountability dodgeball, this is to be an Olympic sport, not just in this space especially, but in the world in general. There's too many guys running from themselves. There's too many guys who just doing too many dumbass things, falsely promoting the idea of masculinity when it really is just it's internet bitch assness and offline. Now, I'm gonna move on to 3. Are we still prisoners of our past or pariahs of the present? Either one is still fucked up. Now, personally, I could still hold a grudge, an overt grudge to the individuals who have done so many fucked up things, and even some to present day. But the thing is, it is beneficial for you to treat every individual as a new opportunity, a new slate. Now, it is your duty also to give them enough rope to redeem themselves or hang themselves, figuratively. See, when certain snakes, they don't just hiss at you anymore. They'll say all kind of things like brother, family, homie, whatever colloquialism you want to use. Some snakes even seek your warmth by giving you a hug or a pound. Meanwhile, they're gritting their teeth, not trying to bare their fangs in front of you if they can help it. Slithering around behind your back and doing shit in the grass. And sometimes you can see this shit. Many times I have. Now, just because I don't say shit doesn't mean I don't see the shit. It is your duty also to treat them accordingly. When they show you who they are and what they're about, what are you going to do? Do you believe them? Matter of fact, here's a better question. What happens when you see yourself, who you were, being brought to your face in real time in the manifestation of your children, your so-called friends, where you work? And you see every example why you can't run from yourself. You got to learn how to wage war and address yourself. Now, if you're still a prisoner of your past, you cannot help but become a pariah in your present. There's far too many brothers out here who always out here putting the heads of fucking devious bitches on top of new opportunities. And it doesn't matter whatever brand you want to hide behind. Eventually, either you're going to face your demons, cut the heads off those snakes, or you're going to die tired running from yourself. I took a 4.5-year sabbatical. And again, that was just for me personally, because I have had to deal with a decade and a half of shit. And I had to purge. I had to get things out of my system because, number one, it nearly brought me to an end that close many years ago. And two, I got sick and tired of being sick and tired. All those individuals who were given a stage to show their ass, I had to own up to the fact that I gave them tickets of admission. I gave them VIP sitting. And this is what we have to stop doing as men. Again, we talk about the 4 Ps and the 4 Ts. Are they the time, toll, trouble, and threat? Are you worth the same? Are you worth your provision, problem solving, protection, and procreation? You have to assess that for yourself and to yourself before anything else. Now, you being a pariah in the present, what does that mean? A pariah is an outcast or someone who's despised and avoided. It is often used in the phrase social pariah and in the context of politics. Some of us have to admit we're afraid of success. We're afraid of expressing ourselves, being in a healthy relationship. We wouldn't know what to do. Not just with a woman or what have you. Mainly a healthy relationship with yourself. Some of us just go along to get along. Now that we're off the service, instead of staying fit, sharpen your mind and reading something at least every day, staying focused and being a hard-charging veteran, a lot of us fall the fuck off. Now, granted, we deal with things as far as like depression or mental health issues or physical ailments. Some of us have lost limbs, many things that we've suffered in our time. But a lot of the spiritual warfare deals with coming back into the civilian theater as a veteran. And some of those bear the deepest scars. Some have to deal with fighting, waging war for their children, waging war to return their home from being an actual fucked up, dysfunctional house. Some of us have left the better part of ourselves on those battlefields, and some of us left the better part of ourselves in old relationships that we're still waging war within ourselves in. Granted, everybody ain't gonna accept you. And many times over, it's a good fucking thing. I get the principle of the lone wolf situation, but again, there's more negative connotation than it is positive. Every man can't be a fucking island. As an admitted ambivert, I do my best to step outside my comfort zone and try to socialize with people. That way I become socially adept, very fluid, and do what I need to do, not as a survival mechanism, but to be productive for and beyond myself. But I know my limits. When I want to be left the fuck alone, that's what I do. I will veer off. I will enjoy my peace of mind to recharge my batteries. It goes into knowing yourself, knowing your limitation, your boundaries, and respecting them. You have to respect your boundaries and limitations before anyone else can. Ultimately, we have to teach people how to treat us. And in doing so, you can break the shackles of being a prisoner of your past. And you can free yourself from remaining a pariah in the present, which ultimately makes you a fugitive from your future. Number 2, understanding that excuses are both wasted examples of creativity and overt admissions of failure to be nor remain accountable. As I've said earlier, many of us have strong calves and weak constitutions when it comes to running from ourselves. Anytime we have to face ourselves, you got individuals who look for an easy way out and make an excuse. In that 4.5-year sabbatical, I had to look at myself and I had to own up to every fucking thing I've ever done or ever allowed in my vicinity, even to this day. Now, thankfully, it's a lot easier because I had time to learn and master that art. And it is a fine art if you dedicate yourself to it. But as far as making excuses, that decreases your credibility as a man. We're supposed to oppose the environment. Now, when it comes to our bullshit, we own it. We're supposed to. That's what people learn to respect. But when you're out here too busy, well, this person doing this, and I felt this way, and blah, 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 you got to fucking find your nuts, hold your nuts, or staple them to that little bump in the wall you call a gonad. Address it and move the fuck on. Because that ultimately not only shows the deficits in the spiritual part, what that shows is that unaddressed issues and stress that ultimately affect our health, which bleeds into our families, our appearance, and our dwelling, and many other things. If we're not careful and we allow unresolved issues to manifest for a long time, we will squander our wealth just to exist, not live lives. And many a veteran, all they want is a solid life, myself included. Now you have to ask yourself, what am I willing to do to ensure that? So you can get children pointing the finger, well, he did this and blah, blah, blah. But there comes a time when it comes to rites of passage. That rite of passage often comes in the form of adversity. Who are you when put under pressure? And I deal with a lot of shit personally. I don't talk about it much, but for all intents and purposes, dealing with tinnitus in the ear, bilateral feet and knees, sleep apnea, PTSD, clinical depression. Sometimes you might not be able to tell because I try to keep my mind focused on other shit. But when those things surface, I tend to excuse myself and keep the light away from me in the public eye. I don't want to exacerbate the problem as best I can, but sometimes you can't help it. As a veteran, you go in knowing certain things. It goes into learning yourself and doing what you can to repair certain things that you can. Also being around certain people who will help you along the way. Not solidify and justify your bullshit excuses. Running from yourself will not run you to a profitable life. This is why you see this here. Living this lie under this banner. This is where you become Baphomet's bottom. Being drugged to and fro to where you find out there is no truth. And there's a lot of brothers who eliminated themselves because they didn't see they found no truth in the life they were living. So now we go to number 1. Self-fulfilling prophecies. I said this a few times, words or spells. It's on you to add strength to it or weaken it. As I speak on the spiritual, what do you believe in? Now, there's a certain individual that got pissed off because I said, I started a whole thing about saying his cats ran a train on him. Now, it was on him to add validity to it. As entertaining as I found that, I still had to take ownership of the things I say and do. Now, when it comes to self-fulfilling prophecies, we got to start with the definition. What is a prophecy? One definition is an inspired utterance of a prophet. Second one is the function or vacation of a prophet specifically. The inspired declaration of divine will and purpose. And that third one is a prediction of something to come. Now, I want to stick on number 2 because we always talk about we're always on our purpose. We're thinking black man, whatever popular phrase is out here. But those are just blanket statements. What do we add to these conversations? And there's nothing being wrong with being a thinking black man, but where are our thoughts being conveyed and how they're being expressed through our actions and intents and our words? And this is no shot to anybody. What I'm asking for and what the world is asking for is clarification on what you stand for and what you stand on. You can say anything you want to. Anything. But your actions and intent are going to speak much louder than what you said. So again, if your actions, words, and intent do not work in concert, it is all bullshit. And what you've seen time and time again, there are many individuals who stand proudly on bullshit. Can you gain anything from bullshit? Yes, you look at fertilizer. But when you choose to take the station of fertilizer, your masculine light is the first sacrifice to go. As a veteran, what are your 11 general orders for yourself? We're not talking about all government property in view. We're talking about everything that pertains to and around you. Because I've always said you got to stand your post. What are you standing on? What do you deem worth protecting? I would hope it be your masculine light. I would hope it be for your peace of mind, your respect, your reputation, your word. I often say Semper Fi, not just to appease other people, but it means something to me. Always faithful. It doesn't always have to be to individuals, because once they've shown themselves to be assholes and shitbirds, I'm going to stay faithful to the mission to protect this post and all things pertaining to me. When you talk about relationships or relationships, if she has earned her place around you, she will be your problem, which means she's earned the right to see what you do with those 4 P's until she's proven to be a problem that needs to be solved. Then she's no longer your fucking problem. It sounds simple, but the application is far more complicated, depending on your principles and what you stand for and what you stand on. But the other part is, what are you prophesizing to yourself? You see, a long while ago, I had an affinity for fear and fail porn. And that's why you had ashy dick analytics, where you have these individuals shouting out statistics and data, but again, because of their hubris, they became statistics in spite of the data. See, the thing is, knowing what you stand on and what you stand for, you're already aware of what could possibly be. When they show their ass, what are you going to do? It goes beyond opposing your environment. Sometimes you have to oppose your urges and the impulse to get along. So it's one of the many tests that we're going to run into as men, especially us as veterans. When you got motherfuckers who say that we get free money or have all these negative things to say about us or towards us, what are you allowing them to speak into your realm, your movement, your place as a veteran here? That should be your banner, your flag. When you send your colors up, how are you representing yourself? They're going to see it by your actions, words, and intent. Do you stand for what you stand for? Or you're a shitbird who's posing as a man who happened to be of a service, doing things that worth fighting for, self-sacrifice, being selfless, being that trained, sensible giver to individuals who get out of pocket can learn how to have a very bad fucking day. What are you speaking into the path forward? What have you learned from the lessons of the past and the present that will ultimately affect your future? Who are you listening to? See, when it comes to these prophecies, there are two types of prophecy. Number one is self-imposed prophecies, which occur when your own expectations influence your actions. So you speak life into you, and you can speak that into others. Now, some might not be able to receive it, and I've seen it in real time. But what do you say about you? When you wake up in the morning, when you look in the mirror, when you look at the people that are reflecting who you are and what you're about, what are you speaking into yourself and into the road ahead? Sometimes you have to take that eraser and erase certain motherfuckers. Take the lessons that were given. No, you're relieved of your post. Again, it goes back into you being the commanding officer of your life. And the other imposed prophecies occur when others' expectations influence your behavior. Who you allowed to put a battery in your back? Who are you allowed to blow smoke up your fucking ass? Lead on these wild internet goose chases. Who's telling you bullshit that they don't even stand on, but you're so willing to eat it up? Now, the thing is, there are many people who are speaking death to me right now as we speak, trying to speak death into my life, my vision, my goals, everything that pertains to me. Number one, fuck them with serrated razor blade. Number two, your spells don't have any power over here. You can say whatever the fuck you want. Number one, because I know most of you going to say that shit out of earshot. Number two, the ones who tend to be vocal, I will tear your motherfucking ass apart. Not just verbally, if I so choose. But there are many ways that you can get them back. Meaning by speaking life into yourself and manifesting what you were meant to say and do. See, your accomplishments, everything that you've earned, will not just show them how to shut the fuck up, but it'll tell them bluntly. When people see that you stand on something solid, especially on your word and what you're about, others will speak in your behalf. What the fuck are you talking about? You lose credibility trying to sit there and throw rocks up a fucking mountain. on to being yourself, being your motherfucking self. But I'm talking to you, the individual listening to this. Stop allowing others to speak death into what you were meant to be. I've mentioned before, favor isn't fair for a reason. How you're built, how you think, how you move, when you actually master your masculine light, they can't fucking touch you. And they will burn themselves in trying. You were built to be great. Some have one great talent that they're the baddest motherfucker out there. They apply themselves. Some are multi-talented. Now, granted, you hear people say, well, if they ain't talking about you, you're not doing everything right. They're going to talk about you anyway. My thing is, do you need to give an audience to everything? It goes into your mindset, how you treat yourself. Some people say some shit, this free comedy, because you learned or consider the source. So all you chicks with the stinky dildo statistics, and all you guys who are governed by ashy dick analytics, I hear these things. It's free entertainment, which I encourage my fellow veterans to see things the same way. We've seen our shitbird colonels. We've seen our Lance Corporal Smuckatellis. Hell, even you know why Jody hates your fucking guts. See, he's looking around for your crumbs. He takes the simple bitches away from you. But when you establish your SOP into everything that you're worth having, he can't take that away. That pisses him the fuck off. So in closing, I want to say this. All opinions you value can cause this prophecy. You, often the tenor of what they, or add validity to what they say about you. Or you can cancel that check and put that value back into yourself, what you were standing for. Stay focused on the mission. Now, you're going to run into a lot of these Tender Dick Templars, these Wi-Fi winos, these cyberspace squatters, keyboard crips, and broadband bloods across the board. You're going to run into all of them. But see, unfortunately, in this cyberspace arena, their abilities are limited. And while you got individuals bitching and moaning for 12, 48 hours, 72 hours even, you're still the commanding officer of your company, leading the way to success and bringing things into fruition because you have system, order, and structure about you that you've earned and putting yourself through spiritual boot camp. So with that being said, we got to take serious consideration of our reflections, not just off shiny surfaces, but the people who reflect our masculine light or the intensity of it back to us. Is the intensity of your light strong or is it dim? Are you a lighthouse of a leader or are you a nightlight for these negative nitwits out here? You control the switch. And that will show either you're going to be a legend in your own time or another one of society's bitches. So simplify to you guys. Hopefully you guys receive this message. You let me know in the comment section. And let's have the conversation. But as always, never allow your comfort zone become your coffin. Simplify.